Well, we all know that inflation has gone way up over the past couple of years. Question is, how does small business deal with the effects of inflation and trying to keep their businesses open? Right now, I am joined with Richard Weylman. Richard, thanks for joining us on the Midday this afternoon.
Thank you, Matt. Great to be with you.
So, yeah, that's the question, Richard. What can small businesses do?
Well, it's an interesting time because with inflation, people have to be very judicious on where they spend their money, how they spend their money, what they invest in. And let's tell the truth. Almost every industry, every situation is commoditized. And the only way that people can make a decision about where should I spend my last $5 or my next $5, do I spend it here? Do I spend it there? Do I save it? What they're looking for is an elevated experience. If you give people in your business, whether it's a restaurant, a hairdresser, an air conditioning business, even an auto dealership, an elevated experience is what people are looking for. Good service is no longer good enough. So when you give people an elevated experience, what happens is you elevate the experience, it creates emotional engagement, and they become not just satisfied clients or customers, they become delighted advocates for you, and they spend on your behalf.
A lot of these small businesses, especially restaurants, have not been able to survive the 1-2 punch of COVID, and then of course this high inflation where the customer or the employment costs are high, the food costs are high. So you're saying that providing a little bit extra incentive for customers is one of those keys to keep them there, correct?
Exactly right. Because if you think about a restaurant, a great example, Matt. Let's talk about a restaurant. If I go into a restaurant, and even though the food is good and the service is good, if it's so noisy we can't have a conversation, Matt, the next time we're going to get together, I might say, let's go back to that restaurant. And you'll say, you know what? It was so noisy. We couldn't even hear each other think. Let's go somewhere else. So people make a choice based on the experience. And it's the same thing when you go into a restaurant and you say, I'd like a quiet table, or I'd like a table in a corner. And they say, well, that's not available. That experience that you're having makes a difference. And part of the reasons that restaurants have struggled is because they don't have, just like every other business, they don't have a clear statement of the, shall we say, experience that a customer is going to have. Yet you look at Freddy's Steakburger and Custard, just won the National Restaurant Award for the best fast casual in the United States. How did they do that? They have a statement. Basically great steak burgers delivered with gracious hospitality. That's what people go back for, the great steak burgers, but also the gracious hospitality.
Yeah, in this day and age, we definitely need good customer service when we're spending this much money. So it's definitely a good cause. Hey, real quick,
Exactly right.
also when it comes to small businesses, what do you see the future here for this high inflation? Do you think it's going to come down anytime soon to try to give these businesses and customers a break?
No, I think the promises being made about 3 rate cuts, I think is, we'll say generous. But the truth of the matter is, it's not going to get less expensive, even if the rates come down. The reality is that high prices are here to stay. And so what we have to do is find ways that we can connect and cultivate our customer base so they continue to come into our store, buy from us, do business with us in the long term. By cultivating that relationship, let me hear from you, is what the customer is saying. Because if I don't, I think you take me for granted.
All right, Richard Weylman, thanks very much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.